This week's show brought to you by SCAD, Scott Countyans Against Drugs. Welcome everybody to the Scott County Cardinals News Graphic Football Coaches Show Playoff Edition, Regional Championship Edition. We've said last week, we didn't know if last week would be the last show. It wasn't the last show. Scott County had many other ideas as they went down to Frederick Douglass, previously undefeated, #1 ranked Frederick Douglass, picked by everybody, probably including me, to win the regional championship and go on to the States at Kroger Field. And Scott County took care of them 28-27, avenging an earlier 28-10 loss. They controlled the game throughout, basically did lose the lead in the fourth quarter, but Scott County, much like the Moeller game earlier this year, and a lot of similar emotions involved in it, answered immediately, took the lead in the fourth quarter, and held on in an exciting finish. The running game dominated, 300-plus total yards from Austin Barnett and Bronson Brown. A couple of gadget plays, the Glenn Covington pass to Peyton Brown comes to mind that led to a touchdown. And then the defense, tipped two-point pass by Adam Grieving that was tipped just enough so that Frederick Douglass caught it out of bounds. That kept the lead. Scott County recovered the onside kick, couldn't get a first down, had to punt it back. But then Brian Hudson with the big sack of quarterback Cam Jones at the end of the game, and a fourth down pass didn't make it to the chains, and the Cards celebrated a huge win, another huge win. That's 4 in a row. That's 9-3 on the season, and they will be going to Simon Kenton High School in Independence, Kentucky, a little bit north of here, this Friday night, 7:30 kickoff. It's a regional championship. Arguably the two 6A teams that have been the most, not even arguably, the most successful that aren't located in Louisville in the state, as Scott County has been in this game 10 of the past 11 years, as has Simon Kenton. Now, if you look at the records when they get to the region final, Scott County is a lot better. They've won it 7 of the past 9, and Simon Kenton's lost 7 of its past 9. So some signs, good signs for Scott County, but this is an opponent that the Cards cannot take lightly. I know Coach McKee, as proud as he was and as outspoken as he was after the win, if you've seen some of it on social media, and I really hope the team takes this game seriously. In fact, that was some of his first words to them Friday night is, can't do what you did against Moeller and come out next week and have a letdown. This is a legitimate opponent. Scott County and Simon Kenton, the only two teams in Class 6A to have 2,000-yard rushers this year. One of Simon Kenton's big runners is the quarterback, Caleb Farfsing. You'll have to watch for John Sargent as well out of the backfield. And, of course, it's Barnett and Brown for Scott County. Should be an exciting game. Should be a matter of who finishes drives. Should be a lot of long drives. Neither team is really a quick strike offense. So it'll be fun to watch the battle in the trenches on Friday night. The winner of that one will host either Connor or Madison Central next Friday night. And the Cards, they got after me for my comment a few weeks ago that it would take a major upset for them to be back at Toyota Stadium in 5 weeks. Well, if they win Friday night, they will be back at Toyota Stadium the night after Thanksgiving. Well, I'll keep our fingers crossed and look forward to that game this Friday at Simon Kenton. Coach McKee, he always gets the last word. Let's give it to him. We'll have his thoughts on the Frederick Douglass game as well as what's ahead with Simon Kenton. A tough challenge this week. You can beat the top team in the state, but you have to back it up the next week against another team that's been in the top 10 all year. Let's see what Coach McKee had to say. Scott County played the underdog role splendidly, despite it being an unusual place for the team.
What's really important, in my opinion, in leadership is, you have to take whatever the situation is and try to sell your people on that vision. So if you happen to be 11-0 and ranked #1, then you've got to really work hard to sell your people on everybody's chasing us. Everybody wants us. We're going to get everybody's best effort. We've got to keep getting better. If you're not 11-0 and you're whatever we were, 8-3, and you lost the first game, I've been on both sides of it. We won the first game in 2015 against Lafayette. I think we scored like 60-some points, had over 600 yards, and we lost the regional final game. So if you win the first game, you got to approach it one way. If you lose the first game, then you got to approach it another. And I think we did a real good job in how we approached. And you helped. I watched the last coach's show. You said before senior night, you said it would take a major upset for Scott County to play again at Toyota Stadium.
The Cards needed time to overcome a major injury in mid-season.
some things that happened in the regular season. Most people, you know, average Joe America, which is what I am, and probably in football too, in most Joe's opinions, but you know, they don't realize what a good football player Sam Daniel was and how valuable he was to our defense in the secondary, and his knowledge of football, his football IQ, his ability to make sure we're in the right coverages. You know, they just don't realize what an impact that had on our defense in the first quarter of the Henry Clay game. And so, you know, we lose that game and then we lose to Douglas. I mean, I was never really worried or concerned, just being frank. I didn't want to lose those games, but, you know, I knew that I had to use that as the leader of the program, you know, to our advantage.
Both teams in Friday night's final are familiar with the challenge.
As fun as it was and as great as people want to talk about it, if we go lose on Friday, then a little bit of the shine comes off of it. You know,
yeah, you said it's similar to the Moeller situation where.
Yeah, I mean, we've experienced the hangover, the Moeller hangover against LaSalle, and we've experienced a little bit of the look forward with Henry Clay looking forward to Douglas. You know, so we've got to be totally focused. You know, I mean, I don't know how much history you've done on the scoreboard and stuff, but Simon's been right at the top in 6A for a long time. I mean, they've been to the finals once, but they lost last year in the regional finals. They lost in 2016 in the regional finals. You know, the 2 games they lost this year, their quarterback didn't play in either game. So, you know, they're very well coached. They're a different challenge, and that's what makes it fun. This week is different than last week. Last week, you know, even though I probably did some motivating, you know, to try to get our guys even more fired up, it didn't take a lot because our guys were naturally going to be fired up and ready to. They know those people. That's like your neighbor. You know, you go out and your neighbor, you compete. I don't know, what do you compete with your neighbor in? Whatever. Who's got the better yard? You know, who's cooking the better steak at the grill out? Whose kid got accepted to the better college? Who's driving a nicer car? Well, that's your neighbor. Well, this isn't really our neighbor. And so we haven't played them since 2012. We played them twice, once in the regular season, once in the regional finals. And so our guys don't really know them. So I really have to work hard to make sure that our guys respect them and are motivated to go as hard as they can go.
Simon Kenton and Scott County both have missed the regional final only once since 2008.
Yeah, just the consistency that what they've done and you know what we've done are very, very similar. You know, you've had other teams and other programs rise up, like Lafayette had those 2 really good back-to-back teams. But the consistency, the 2 programs mirror each other quite a bit.
All right, that was Coach. He's excited about another trip to the region championship, and he's excited for these seniors. It's been a great senior class. They've had their ups and downs, and that's what's made this journey a little more rewarding, I think, is that they've been able to overcome some low points during the season, avenge that loss to Frederick Douglass, and now have a chance to etch their place in school history. Let's see what a couple of the players had to say. The Cards took advantage of their early opportunities at Frederick Douglass.
Well, we knew we were going to have to come into the game ready to go in every possession, every just kickoffs, kickoff return, defense. We knew we had to come with everything we got, and that's what we came with.
I thought we executed it well. First game against them didn't go as well, but we practiced hard and got ready and did what we did.
Finishing drives was a key Friday night compared to the regular season meeting.
Well, we knew if we had a bunch of flags, fumbled, threw picks, anything like that, that the game was just not going to go our way. So we just had to do everything to the exact perfect step, everything.
Yeah, a lot of it was the little mistakes, fumbles, flags. The line did a lot better blocking. We came off and hit them this time and didn't let them hit us.
The Cards remember the letdown after their win over Moeller and cannot afford a repeat of that Friday night.
Yeah, we don't want to do what happened last time. We just want to go up there and do exactly everything right and just win a game.
I think we just got to work as hard as we did like Douglas. Can't underestimate them. Just got to go out there and do what Scott County football does.